Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we help you unlock your potential freedom through land investing, real estate investing, and entrepreneurship.
Hey everyone, this is episode 107 of the Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Apke, and today we're going to discuss the top questions land investors are asking today. So what we did, we put together a bunch from our Discord. So if you don't know, we have a free Discord. We have a lot of online students that are asking us questions. And what we did, we put together the 5 top questions that we are being asked on a daily, a weekly, a monthly basis. And it's the hot topics right now in land investing, I believe, with new people coming in, with the recession, all these things kind of combining. And that's what I think why this episode is going to be so valuable. We're not going to get into deep info on any of these topics in particular. We have a lot of other episodes on stuff like that, but I'm going to answer these questions to best of my ability in 2-3 minutes each and move on. But I think it's going to be very valuable so you can hear my opinion on these. So the first one, and I'm not going to get into a Discord question like we normally do, because all 5 of these questions are from Discord, from our community, from interested students, whatever it is. So the first one that we are constantly getting, this is pretty much a weekly webinar question, as Daniel and I say. The first one we are getting is, how long does it take to sell your properties? And what this is pointing at most of the time when we get this question, it's pointing at the recession. So it's a recession, interest rates are higher. Are there less buyers out there? Is it taking longer to sell your properties? The answer to this, obviously, that stuff is affecting land just like it's affecting houses. And for me personally, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. That being said, what we do is buy land at 30 to 50% of market value. When the market is good, when there's not a recession, we can sell our land at 95 to 100% of what it's worth and sell it really quickly in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. That being said, our target is still to sell land in 1, 2, 3 weeks, but we're not going to be able to sell for 100% of what it's worth. So if I bought 5 acres and market value is $80,000, something like that, I'm not going to be able to sell that for $75,000, $80,000. Or if I did want to sell it for that, I'm going to have to wait 3, 6 months, whatever it is, to sell it for 100% of market value. So our strategy right now to sell in 2 to 3 weeks is selling 80 to 85% of market value. So that $80,000 property, if we posted at $75,000, $80,000, we'd be competing with probably a lot of other 5-acre properties. So what we've decided to do, let's post that for $67,500 or $70,000, be the cheapest on the market by far, get all the interested eyes on there, not have to price drop at all. And then maybe we even get a $75,000 offer from a bidding war, because that's what happens when you underprice. You're going to get a ton of interested eyes on there, and it could result in a bidding war if you have a good piece of land. So we're still selling in 2 to 3 weeks. But that being said, we are pricing closer to 80 to 85% of market value. And like I said, that's a question we are getting literally every week. And I love the question. I love answering it, but I wanted to get this in this kind of form. The next question I got is, how much money does it take to get started in land investing? So this is a very open, it matters your goals, honestly. Like, you can get started with $0 in land investing, but you'll be cold calling. Essentially, that is the free way to get started in land investing, is by cold calling landowners and trying to get land under market value, under contract, essentially. What we suggest for our strategies, which is direct mail, is $3,000 to $5,000. That's going to get you a few months of mail. It's going to get you your first few couple of deals that you'll need to get deal funded. Don't get me wrong with how we do things, but $3,000 to $5,000 is going to get you a ton of mail out the door. It's going to teach you a bunch. It's going to give you, like I said, 2 to 3 months of mail. And we've had people come in, start with $3,000, and after 6 months, they've turned that $3,000 into $60,000, $80,000. And those are the real numbers that we're seeing. And it's really cool to see, because it isn't a huge investment up front. I'm not saying it's not, because sometimes that's everything, is that $3,000 and someone's looking for the right place to put it. I completely understand. It's going to take a lot of education, a lot of patience, and you're going to have to learn from your mistakes still. But I think 3,000 to 5,000 is more than reasonable to really take it and turn it into 60, 80. And once you turn fast, and once you turn it into that 60, $80,000, you have so much more room. You can really be aggressive with your business and really scale fast. Another one that's constantly coming up with members who are joining, or just people in general who maybe started by themselves, they ask, like, do you need a partner? That's what they asked. Or when they're coming into it, with before they even start anything, do I need a partner? And I think we have an episode directly on this. Do you need a partner? And what we constantly say is, like, you do not want to force a business partnership like this, because it can result in a lot of bad things. There are huge upsides to having a partner if they fill gaps that maybe you don't. Maybe you're not a good with data and you're good with sales, so you partner up with someone who's really good at data. You still need to make sure the culture fit is there, to make sure you guys believe in the same things, because once you start hiring people, your core values are going to be built around what you guys believe in. And if you guys are on different pages in terms of, I don't know, like just what you do, like one of our core values is being action oriented. If one of you are more laid back and just kind of get things done when they get done, versus one person who gets things done right when they're put on their plate, those are two kind of they're gonna contradict with each other, and they're gonna kind of battle with each other. And it's gonna be difficult, I think, on the long term if your core values are not aligned. Maybe one person says, I want to be really honest, I want to have a really truthful business, really truthful real estate business, and the other person's all about money. It's hard to do both, honestly, in this business. Obviously, we make a lot of money doing this, and one of our core values is transparency and being honest and all of that. But at the same time, like, sometimes that is going to cost you a deal or cost you money by being really truthful, really honest. And that's what we believe in. So those are two things that could off balance as well. So when you are going into this with or without a partner, let's say, and you're thinking about getting a partner, make sure it's the right fit. Not necessarily interview them, but find out what their core values are, what they believe in, how they've worked in the past. It almost is kind of like an interview. You just don't want the wrong fit, guys. I would try it. If you're hesitant at all, I would try it yourself at first. Some people are strapped for funds and they're looking for a partner who's going to do a lot of the work. Uh, just be careful is what I'm kind of saying, because it is a long-term relationship. It really is. And if it's maybe works for 6 months and then like you guys split apart, it's a difficult split. So hopefully that helps it. My basic answer to that, do you need a partner, is do not force it. It's not 100% necessary. We have plenty of people doing this by themselves, making 500, 600, $1 million a year by themselves. And obviously not having to split that with someone else is nice. So another one we get is, what kind of letters do we send, and thoughts on other acquisition methods. So this is kind of a loaded question. This will probably take a little longer to answer. So what we do is we send a 2-page letter to vacant landowners around the country. Our second page, our second page is a contract, essentially. So it's a purchase agreement with a price. So what we price all of our mailers. So let's say 5 acres, I want to offer $25,000 in this area. They're going to see that we're offering 25,000. We inside think that we can sell it for 50, 52, whatever it is. And we go from there. We make the offer like that. It's a 2-page letter. First page is basically outlining who we are, what we do, why we're interested in the land. And the second page is the actual purchase agreement, which has a closing date, has the price we're willing to pay, has all the, it's a legal document, essentially. That is the document that we can take to title. So as far as the other types of letters, you could be talking about neutral letters without a price and just sending them. You could talk about postcards. All those different things are different types of letters. We have tried these things, and without a doubt, yes, they're cheaper, those other options, but our cost per deal, our profit per money spent is way better when we send the 2-page letter, which is more expensive to send. Do not get me wrong, but a neutral letter is going to result in a lot more expenses down the line. Our acquisition rate is not as good. We don't get as good of deals. For example, if you send 1,000 neutral letters, you might get 100 calls, to be honest, because it doesn't have a price on there. So they don't know maybe they just want market value. Maybe they want more than market value. So they're going to call you back. They're going to either call you, talk to you, not waste your time, but take your time up, or call an answering service. And that's going to cost you money. Either way, it's costing you money, whether it's your time or an answering service's time. So that's something to think about going into it. Other acquisition methods are texting, emails, phone calls, phone calls essentially. And again, we've tried all these. We're still deep into testing, texting, and these outbound phone calls. Once again, our cost, the value of what we do is, I think, the 2-page letters. We do not see as good of results with any of these other methods. Texting is something that people are very hesitant, and I think it leads to a lot of things that people think are scams. To be honest with you, if you're getting a text saying "I want to buy your land," it doesn't come off as legit compared to a 2-page letter in a nice envelope with a legal document to sign on the second page. So the texting really does kind of throw people off. Cold calling is something that we have not tested as much. It obviously, you need people. If it's you calling, great. That's going to take a ton of time up. You'll get some deals eventually, but you're not going to be able to hit as many people. If you are if you have a service that calls, like let's say you have overseas people who are making calls, we haven't tested that a whole lot, so I don't want to get too much into that. I know there are people doing this. I do not think, as far as what I've heard and the little amount we've done, I do not think the success rate is going to be comparable to the 2-page letter. So that's basically, it might sound biased when I talk about this, but that's basically our experience with other acquisition methods. Our 2-page letter we send is the most expensive thing that we send. It's 60 cents per mailer essentially, but we get the best results with it. So finally, our last question, and this is one that, again, we're getting quite a bit here recently with the recession, with everything. People are always asking this, and the question is, what are the best niches in land investing? I'm not going to talk about them all. There's so many. Like, you can get into leasing farmland, leasing hunting land, flipping, whatever it is, owner financing, whatever the stuff is, you can really get into it. The one that I am the most optimistic about, I think, for the future is subdividing. And the reason being, there is a limited amount, and I had a conversation with someone the other day about this, and they said, like, how long is your business going to last? There's a limited amount of land in the country. I said, yeah, there's a limited amount of land, but there's an unlimited amount of parcels. That being said, there are so many rural 150 acre parcels out there that are going to eventually be subdivided into 5-10 acre parcels. So that being said, those parcels can even be subdivided down even more than that 5-10 acres. So there are an unlimited amount of parcels. Yes, there is a limited amount of land, and they can only be cut down so far, because really there is a finite number of parcels, but that they can be cut down so far. And there are so many rural parcels, even 40, 50 acres. You cut those down into 5-10 acre parcels, you can make a boatload of money. So subdividing, you need to find counties that don't have heavy restrictions on it, because a lot of these counties are restricted heavily with subdividing, and they want to keep those big tracts for whatever reason. They want to keep those big hunting tracts, keep them rural. And once you start getting into subdividing for like development, where you're getting the neighborhoods, that is extremely restrictive, and you're going to have to go through a lot more loopholes. That is very profitable as well. But I'm more so interested in subdividing 50 acres down into 10-acre parcels, and that's what we've done that a few times and made a lot of money doing it. We constantly are evaluating our purchases and seeing what we can do with them, if something else, to maximize our money. So that is something that I'm very optimistic about for the future. Other than that, guys, that is all I have for you. If you do not mind, please, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and like the video. Leave a comment if you have a question, if you want us to answer anything else in future episodes. If you're watching on Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate you leaving a review, liking the episode. We're not trying to get any sponsors for this or anything like that, but liking the show, leaving a review, and maybe even sharing it with a friend is extremely helpful to us. Other than that, thank you for listening, and have a good one.